This is our new theme song. It's not very PC.
Let's find something.
It's not very PC.
Why
is that?
Kim, and I don't like it either.
Okay. Why?
Because it's cultural appropriation.
Oh, God almighty, you fucking people.
See that?
Cultural appropriation, it's like from every movie that there ever has been. Every Chinese movie that there ever has been.
Yeah, there were plenty of movies that had really offensive stuff in them.
That's not offensive. Why is it offensive? What makes it offensive?
Stereotype.
Okay, here's a story. Here's a story. Wait. Here's a story. My daughter, who's at the time 5 years old, I'm going to say. There's a group of kids. There was one black child, right? And she said, "Oh, Anthony had, did this." And I said, "Well, which one's Anthony?" She goes, "Oh, he's the tall one." Well, there's 5 tall ones. I go, "Well, which tall one?" She goes, "Oh, he's the one with, the
dark curly hair or whatever."
Then there, a bunch of guys with dark curly hair. I says, "Is it the black one?" She goes, "You can't say that." Yeah. I says, "Why can't I say he's the black one? He's a black guy. He's a beautiful black child. But if there's nothing racist about saying he's the black child out of a group of 15 people. That doesn't make you a racist, does it?"
No.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Why would that be cultural appropriation?
Because
to play?
You're laughing at the music from an ethnic group that has nothing to do with this podcast. So you just put it.
It does have to do because the reason it has to do with it, because you didn't let me go to it, was Kim and Pat and Jimmy were walking in with their coffees, and I was up top where I like to scare people, and I go "Ba-da-da-da-da-da," and I saw her jump with the coffees, and the coffees almost went everywhere.
Your coffee go everywhere.
He's very proud of himself when that happens.
I take pride on scaring people when they walk in, because they don't. Their visual thing. They're looking down. They're looking out towards the back.
They're looking in the door. I've seen people go into the door.
Into the door. They can't see where the sound is coming from, so you freak them out.
And tonight, when we put this on, guess the first thing they'll hear?
Because that's a funny thing that we do. So there we go. It is GloucesterCast 353. It is August 18th. Summer is basically, although it's very humid in the office right now.
Yes.
We had a couple of weeks there where we got a little reprieve last week from the heat.
It was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was glorious.
Gorgeous weather. Gorgeous.
Think that we're out of the woods. We're not out of the woods, apparently. It's muggy today. Even though it's not that hot out, it's muggy, humid.
And stinky.
Well, that's the
forecast
best.
smells extra fishy today.
Like another month of hot, muggy, warm.
That's the name Fish Town.
August, usually, right? Yeah, we usually get the sun goes down earlier, so it's
I
less.
think we're losing 3 minutes a day, I heard the weatherman say.
Is that what it is?
Of daylight in the month of August, I believe that.
Do you want to know why that makes me happy? Because football season is coming, and we watched
They're already in Nashville, aren't they?
Yesterday. They won last night. So we'll be able to watch the Patriots outside on the projector screen like we did the Bruins playoffs. But we needed it to be darker early enough. In the snow, we're planning on doing that. That's part of the thing.
I'm sorry, I'm going to miss that.
We got tailgate. All right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guests today. Well, 5 guests and me. Paul St. Germain, a virgin for the podcast.
Yes.
We have Jimmy and Pat Dalpiaz are here.
Chris isn't here, so happy birthday, Joey.
Thank you, sir.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Happy birthday.
Well, thank you for bringing me the donuts. That was nice of you. You knew it was my birthday. You brought the donuts.
I did, exactly.
Thank you.
Brothers Brew Donuts.
Brothers Brew
The
Donuts.
best in Cape Ann.
That's right.
We
agree with that.
I would agree with that.
And I
I
get
love
no
to
commission.
have a wax paper bag so the grease stains from the donuts don't soak through.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
Next level thinking.
It certainly is.
Next level thinking. Susan Lipsette is with us.
Good morning, Gloucester.
Susan and I, was it last week? When did we go to the... You haven't been here since you and I went on...
Well, because you didn't tell me that you switched the day on the podcast last week.
Because but I added you this week into the group chat on Facebook.
Yeah.
So
after how many years? You finally did.
So she's in. So now she's in. But last week we had the one day out of the summer, my cousin and I switched, so I was on... I worked Saturday.
Nobody told me.
I know. I failed you.
I figured that
We're
probably
sorry.
I failed you. It was my
That's
fault.
nice.
No one else. See, I take responsibilities
That's
on
good.
me.
You're gonna have to get a contract.
Kim Smith is also with
Yeah,
us.
change my
Good morning,
contract to
Gloucester.
include that.
Thank you for being here.
Hi, Pat.
He did. He
He did.
He did.
I said Jimmy
I
and
said
Pat.
good morning.
Oh, I
First.
didn't hear Jimmy. I didn't hear Pat. Story of my life, selective hearing.
I'm looking out for it.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
The only one that hasn't shit on me here yet is Paul St.
No,
James
no, I would
St.
never
Germain.
do that. I would never do that.
Everybody else is taking shots at me this morning. I feel like I got a target on me.
Aw.
Oh,
No, we
we're
didn't.
so
we don't
sad.
want
No.
A target you may have painted on your back yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Possibly.
We should have gotten you a Target
she's
shirt. when
really
we
good.
were
Pat,
at
listen,
the-
you're already
the
skating on
wellness
thin
center.
ice.
I am. That's true.
You're already skating on thin ice after you messed up my bagel order last week.
Mhm.
Oh my
Yeah.
She-
Yeah, I did.
God. Jeez.
We
She
should have
pretend-
looked for a
Pat's-
shirt with
Pat's
a
really
Target
good at
on it
coming
when we
back
were out
with a
shopping, Joe.
comeback.
She is
I
good.
love that.
She is good. The GMG koozies at Northeast.
Yeah.
They should be in either by the end of this week or the beginning
Oh,
of the
excellent.
following
I'm
week.
glad you did the different colors. I think that's great.
I did it. So we did. So we had a poll. One was red, white, and blue.
Right.
One was the aqua and blue,
Right.
and it was really kind of split right down the middle.
So you did both.
So I did both.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Did that
And,
cost
nice.
extra to do it 2 ways?
it did cost extra, but I like whatever. I'll just eat it. No big deal.
Or drink it since they're koozies.
Or drink it. Speaking of drinking it, tomato season is upon us. I was at Kate's father's house, Kate's parents' house,
Yeah.
my in-laws, yesterday, and his tomato plants. He's got more tomatoes than he knows what to do with.
But what color are the tomatoes?
Most
They're
of
all
them,
red?
I'm gonna say 95% of them are green. A handful of them are red, and a handful of them are in between red and green.
So they're all going to be red.
They're all gonna
when
be
They're
red.
not going to be yellow.
She's looking for yellow.
Well, I'm not
tomatoes.
sure. I just had the idea how delicious it might be to start making Bloody Marys with some of these fresh tomatoes that are everywhere this time of year. So, of course, I looked on the internet where you can believe everything you read on there.
Of course.
And lots of people have already done this. If you have a supercharged blender that'll just, really
Pulverize it.
Pulverize.
get rid of the seeds.
Yeah.
And I do have a nice blender, so I'm thinking if we can gather up some fresh tomatoes, we could try different fresh tomato Bloody Mary recipes. But one of the most interesting ones I found was on Bon Appetit's website, which is for yellow tomato Bloody Mary.
Oh, baby.
That sounds so good.
They look good.
But
The
it's-
picture
So
look
now
great.
Jim and Pat are out to look
Especially
for
with
the
the,
yellow tomatoes, and if they find them, I will be ordering the special olives, which I didn't know anything about, the Castelvetrano olives. You have to use the brine. And reading up on these olives now, apparently I've been really missing out because these olives
The best.
are a slice of heaven, apparently, according to.
I want you to run that by the woman from Pastaio Via Corta.
Yeah.
Because she's an olive
She
expert.
might have them.
Oh,
She
that's
may
a-
have them.
That's
thought
a good
about
idea.
that.
That's
I
a
thought
really
about
good
that.
idea.
That she might be.
And
She,
also,
So
you
wait,
can
are you
I'm
get-
gonna
gonna-
send
are you
you
gonna
the
bring
link
the-
to the recipe?
At the
Oh, okay,
farmer's-
great.
at the
Are you
farmer's
gonna-
market,
are you
might
gonna
be able to
make
find
the-
yellow tomatoes?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Sorry?
make some.
At the farmer's market, you might be able to find yellow
That's
tomatoes.
what we're going to.
That's what the Dalpiazes
Yeah.
are on it, and then they're gonna send me smoke signals to use
Yes.
more cultural appropriation
Yes.
since we're doing that today, or beat the drums even more. And then I will be getting on top of these olives and getting them ordered so we can get going.
If we find them, we'll get them in.
Hiawatha.
I am sending you the recipe, Joe, so you can post it.
I will
Anyone
do
with
that. Are you-
yellow tomatoes can get on it.
So the question that I have is, will we be partaking in the consuming of the yellow tomato?
Yeah, because I think once I make the juice from the tomatoes, it can last several days in the fridge.
So next Sunday morning, that's what we get to look forward to.
Well, I'm hoping if we find the yellow tomatoes.
Okay,
And
if
I
we
don't
find
see
the
you
yellow
doing
tomatoes,
anything to help us with
I'll
that.
bring the vodka.
That's
Okay,
a pretty
Joe,
key
that's the
element.
least difficult part of it.
It's a key element.
Well, that's right.
It's probably the most
Yeah, but
expensive
I
part.
got plenty of vodka. Don't you worry.
That's
All right,
right.
I'll bring the vodka. Then.
I got Kirkland
Can you
vodka.
just make a virgin
That's
one?
right. Grey Goose.
Can you make them without?
I don't know if that's possible,
Can I
Kim.
just
How
have
would I
one?
do that?
Can I just have one without? I'm not
Do
drinking
you mean
Bloody
would I
Mary,
do
just-
that?
Why can't you have a Bloody Mary?
'cause
Are you have something a thing a problem with your stomach that doesn't do the acid?
No, I love them, but not at 8 o'clock in the morning when I have to go home and take care of Charlotte.
I think they would make you a better parent,
Yeah, I think
better
one drink is
grandparent
okay.
if you had took a little of that edge off that you always carry around.
Yeah.
your leg would feel better.
Yeah.
Oh, your spider bite would be cured.
Your leg would feel
You
better.
could rub some of
Pour
that
some of
stuff in
that
your leg.
vodka on
You should
it.
see. You should take a picture of your leg and put that on the podcast notes.
Oh.
I hate
She
when
has
people
a-
do that on Facebook. They put these really
Gross
garish
things.
pictures.
Do you know what she's been doing?
Horrifies me.
You know how she's been raising her fleet of vicious Cecropia moths that are going to take over the world. She has 37 of them in captivity right now. One of them broke loose and they attacked her leg. We don't know if she's going to. We don't know if she's going to be here next
Where
week.
Seriously,
pit
she
bulls
does
at
bring
their
it
house
last
and they
week.
just turn on them one day.
Pass it around.
This
And
big.
then,
One came
oh,
out.
he's
It's
the
Yeah.
here.
sweetest
Really?
dog.
Yeah, they kill 'em
Yeah,
off.
Oh my God.
They kill her.
Every
They're
time.
Till they
Cecropia
eat
moth
your face
caterpillars,
off
and
when you
Cecropia
take
moths
it
are
on
North
the
America's
back.
largest moth.
Oh my
So
God.
they have a 6-inch wingspan.
Yeah, they
So
shoot
then it's
poisonous venom into your
Into
eyes,
your eyes.
and then they jump
Why
on your
do you
leg.
have them?
So Cecropia
pets.
moths are endangered because of the way people spray their trees. So if they get some kind of whatever kind of pest moth, when you spray a tree, you kill everything in the
Right.
tree.
No, I understand that.
including,
Very effective.
Including the beautiful Cecropia moths, the Luna
Hummingbirds.
moths, everything. You
Hummingbirds.
could kill baby hummingbirds in the tree with
So
a-
why are you specifically saving these toxic?
So they're not
Moths.
toxic.
They're
They're
deadly,
not toxic.
deadly.
He's
What's
making-
next? Like pit vipers or
They-
cobras?
I think they're pissed.
He's making that up. They're not
That
deadly.
people
are
Oh, they're
spraying
not.
them.
No, they're
Oh
beautiful.
God, I gotta
they're
quit
beautiful
taking him
giant.
seriously about
Yeah.
anything.
You can't believe anything on the
Beautiful
internet.
giant
You're
silk
right.
moths, and they're only alive for about 2 weeks as a
And they're not dangerous.
They're
at
just
all.
like the
dangerous.
praying
They're
mantis.
just-
They shoot the venom and then they die.
Oh, that's
Just not until they
This
eat
is
the
a man
male.
who's afraid of a French bulldog puppy.
They gotta
okay?
eat the males though first. They gotta eat the once they eat the males, then they go.
No, they're beautiful.
They're feminist.
creatures.
They're
How did you
feminist.
find
They only go after
Somebody
men.
gave
To,
them
she's
to-
training them to only
You know,
go after
that's
men.
not such a bad idea.
Somebody gave me the eggs, and
Oh,
so
you raised them from eggs?
yeah, I raised them from eggs, and so but what
Folks, I want you to go to our past things, 351 and 352. I believe it's one of those that you brought in some. Let them review that, and you be the judge, and you call Joey and let him know, and we'll let everybody.
They're deadly. And she trains them to
No,
only
You're
kill
two
men.
sides here, folks.
no, they're
I believe
They're,
Kim.
they're beautiful creatures.
Bad
I
decision.
I posted a picture of how beautiful they are.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
beautiful.
So
That's how they lure you in. Like most
So
think, the
listen-
Are those the
woman,
kind of
the
moths
woman
that
is
eat
always
the
the
sweater?
fairer
Those are
species.
your
They lure you
I
in,
don't want
just like the
anything to do with
mermaids.
the
Yeah.
sweater
The mermaids sitting on the
either.
rock.
right, yeah, right.
It's just like the mermaids sitting on the rock, luring the sailors in,
Yeah.
and they
Okay,
and then
where
they
is
murder
that
them.
mermaid?
No, listen.
What were they called?
For every one butterfly,
What were
there's
those
10 moths.
creatures called
So
who sang
moths
and lured the
are a
sailors
very
to their
important
death?
pollinators.
Disney.
They're a very
Come
important
on.
part of our
Disney.
ecosystem.
That's sirens.
Sirens, yeah,
The siren.
yeah, siren moths. That's what she's got.
That's it.
Siren moths.
So did you get that? For every one butterfly, there's 10 moths. And so they're pollinating flowers all night long. They're pollinating our fruits and our vegetables.
In between murdering men. So we have the yellow tomato thing.
Sounds like downtown New York City.
I have a,
Yeah, right.
I have a link to order the koozies. Paul St. Germain is here. He brought Brothers Brew coffee and
Who
donuts.
puts the Bloody
But-
Marys in the koozies?
oh my God, next
That's
level.
how
That's
Bloody
why we
Marys,
have you
yeah.
here.
What
That's why
synergy
we
that
have
we
you
would
here.
have
Yeah.
with that.
Yes. I like to. Oh,
Let's
if they
do it.
if they're in town.
Christen the koozies
Chris and the
with the
koozies
fresh
for
tomato
bloodies.
Bloody Marys.
Oh, that sounds.
Next level.
Yeah,
Next
that's
level.
it. That's
So
it.
Paul
We got
St.
it.
Paul.
This place is like a think tank.
It is a
really,
think tank.
sometimes.
It's really, there should be a sign.
So Paul.
Some kind of
Paul.
Or drunk tank.
Drunk tank. Well, we only when Nicole Schraft is here we consider it a drunk tank. So,
Oh my gosh.
it's
Poor
part of our
Nicole.
it's part of our shtick. It's
Poor
shtick.
It is
Nicole.
the
Poor
shtick.
Nicole.
We love Nicole. We miss Nicole. Nicole brings our booze when we have podcasts.
Oh, nice.
Oh my God.
So
My arm is long enough.
I'm gonna say this again for the fourth time, and maybe so no one will interrupt me.
Okay.
Paul St. Germain is with us.
Right here.
He is the guy that takes the keeper, the
President
president of the Straitsmith,
At Thatcher Island Association,
and
which has charge of Thatcher Island, off the coast here, and Straitsmith Island, also off the coast.
Thatcher Island with no second T.
No second T.
Tacher.
You were exactly right.
How many people? If you had to guess online, what percentage of people misspell it with the T? 30%?
Probably 70%.
70%.
70%.
Well, they're used to Thatcher Road that has the second
Has the
T.
second T.
Do you know the history
So is
behind
that
it?
No, wait. I want to hear the
Me
histories.
too.
Anthony Thatcher, who wrecked on the island, has the one T in his name. During the Revolutionary War, many of the Thatcher families signed up for the war. And the clerks would misspell the name. They'd always add the second T.
They'd always add the T.
So when these Thatchers were mustered out of the army, the clerks required them to sign their name to get their pensions exactly the way the clerk wrote it.
Oh.
So half the families got the second T,
T.
so
Oh,
they could collect their
that's
pensions, and
so
the other
interesting.
half doesn't.
Right.
And of course, the Thatchers are all over the country, from California to down south. There's
So
thousands.
now,
So now you know.
Now we know, and so if they wanted to go back to no T, they could, right? 'Cause
They
that
could,
would be,
yeah.
that would be their family.
But they'd have to go
They
back.
probably have to go to court to do that.
Yeah, they probably would, because they'd have to change everything.
Huh.
So,
That's an
there you
interesting
go.
It's more
story.
complicated.
So over the last 10 years under your stewardship, there have been a lot of changes over there.
A lot of changes.
We had some pictures before of the structures on there,
On Straitsmith.
on Straitsmith, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you see the pictures now,
It's amazing.
it's amazing the work. So how does that? Where do the monies come from? That and who are the people that actually do the work to restore
To
these?
restore it?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, from a money point of view, that's what the association is all about. The association's role and mission is to raise money for both islands, for the restoration and maintenance. The association was started back in 1980 when Ned Cameron, the originator of the Thatcher Island Town Committee, there's two committees, worked with the town and tried.
Is that town of Gloucester or town of Rockport?
Town of Rockport.
Well,
Okay. Yeah.
And he convinced the selectmen to have an organization that was town sponsored to restore Thatcher. The Coast Guard wanted to give Thatcher Island to the town. The town wouldn't accept it until they put a new ramp in. They lost the ramp in the storms in the 80s. They eventually got the ramp put in. So after that, they knew they needed to raise money, but the town wasn't allowed to raise money. They didn't want to put it on the tax rate. So they opted to start another organization. Our organization is a non-profit organization, 501(c), to go out and raise money. So we raise money via grants, memberships. I believe you got some members.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Jim, we are.
Oh, I know that.
She takes that out of your account.
Carrion?
She takes that one out of your account, Jim.
Right. Yeah, so that's our role is to raise money. So Sid Wedmore is the chairman of the Thatcher Island, Straitsmith Island Town Committee. And so
I'm just trying to. I'm sharing this on my personal page so that people will see it more
Okay.
often. Go ahead.
Cool. So Sid operates the town committee. He's in charge of all the volunteers, the boats, the boat drivers. We have two landing craft boats that we had specially designed to land in the ramps. And so he's responsible for all those people. The keepers who live on both islands now during the summer to operate the island and welcome guests and the public. And so the ongoing thing is we raise the money and Sid spends it. That's basically the deal.
So people can go out to the island, and it's safe to go out there.
Yeah.
Is there anything to worry about when you go out there, and does it cost anything?
All right. Straitsmith?
Yeah.
Well, Straitsmith, right now, it's open to the public. We're very happy to say this is the first year that we opened it to the public now that we have the boat ramp that we just completed late last year. Kayakers can go out anytime. There's like 1.5 miles of trails they can walk.
Wow,
We've got
that'd be a cool
I
walk.
know.
That'd be a cool thing to do with kids.
Yeah.
There's
Anyway.
a whole family of turkeys out there. There's a couple of deer out there. There's all kinds of stuff. And if you go to the very far end of the island, at low tide, I've counted up to 300 seals who sun themselves on the rocks way
Wow.
at the end.
Have you been
You
out
know
there?
what that means?
Oh, I'm
What are you
dying
waiting
to
for?
Go. I know I'm dying to go.
Well, we'll get you out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I was hoping to go actually this Wednesday, but now.
Do you have a boat
I'm
that you could take her out there?
Yeah.
You ready to make an appointment to go out there?
Yes.
Or are you too busy?
No, well, somebody's gonna have to babysit Charlotte so I can go out there.
All right.
No. We don't take people out to Straitsmouth yet.
Yeah.
We will probably starting next year.
But Kim's special, right?
You mean like
Shit.
regular?
All right, there you
Regular
go.
trips. We have
Calendar.
regular trips on Wednesdays and Saturdays at the Thatcher,
Ah,
all
okay.
throughout the summer.
Yeah.
We have 5 trips on Saturdays and 4 trips on
Where would
Wednesdays.
people get the information on how to book
Go
that?
on the website.
Go on the website.
That's your.
ThatcherIsland.org
All right.
And how late in the year do you run the?
till Labor Day.
Till Labor Day.
Yeah, so we'll
Okay.
be closing down the island.
Yes.
in a couple
And
of
it's
That's
growing
right.
short.
Do
Yeah,
you
it's going
do you
to-
do all the work? Like I heard you say paths and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
you're
we-
constantly clearing it and making.
Yeah, we have a team of close to 70 volunteers that not all of them go out every Wednesday, but most of them go out every Wednesday to both islands. And we've assigned them various duties to do, and we do everything. Besides mowing lawns and clearing trails, right now we're building a winch house on Straitsmouth, which will have the winch motor that will be used to tow the boat up the ramp. The boats up the ramp.
So it'll be like a little railways.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a winch with rope
Yeah.
So
pulling it up.
forgive me for not knowing exactly, but you know Peg Flanagan and then her husband.
Oh yeah.
So
Peggy.
aren't they very? So
Joe
they're-
Napolitano.
No, that's right. How do you
And
pronounce
her
his
hus-
last name?
Napolitano.
Napolitano.
Joe has been our go-to contractor for years,
Yeah.
for at least 20 years. He redid all of the principal keeper's house on Thatcher and a bunch of other things out there. He redid the Straitsmouth keeper's house over the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Our volunteers helped him doing clapboard work and roofing and all kinds of other
Wow.
things. But he and his team did the outside and the inside and did an unbelievable
They're,
job.
they're, they're amazing
I wish I had a
at
photograph.
Yeah, they're amazing at restoration, right? Historical restoration
Yeah,
and
yeah.
accuracy. And
Yeah, he's
Are there-
he's an expert in historical restoration. He's done work on the House of Seven Gables and
Oh, wow.
all of those.
Are there any
Gallery House.
like beachy kind of spots? Where you,
No,
No?
we really don't allow people to swim. It's too dangerous to swim even off the ramp.
is it
Why, 'cause there's
is it-
rocks
With all
there?
those
Yeah,
seals,
yeah,
there's probably a
yeah.
lot of sharks there too.
Oh, too.
Well, there are a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few.
Where's the boat that you can catch? You said that for Thatcher.
We run the boats out of T Wharf and Rockport. We have 2 of them. We have a 24-footer and a 28-footer. We had them specially designed. They're aluminum boats. They look like a landing craft. They have the door that drops
Oh,
down
cool.
in the front.
Deep end.
So we run it right up on the ramp. So it's handicap accessible. People can get on with
Wow,
wheelchairs,
really?
and we can roll them down right on.
And the paths are okay for the people to go.
Well, they're not that great.
So a lot of the beaches in Florida have like for the handicapped people, like the ones with the big fat wheels.
Oh yeah.
So that handicapped people can.
Right.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that.
No, we
it's
were
even
thinking of that. We have an electric truck. If you're familiar with the electric truck that the Patriots use to carry guys off the field, that big
like a golf cart.
it's
Golf
like a
cart
golf
that
cart
has
with a bed on it.
Yeah.
Ah,
Somebody gave us one of those.
Yeah.
So we have that on Thatcher. So we can take people around in that.
Yeah.
It's a nice ride.
That's very cool.
Nice.
It's speaking of that. Those there's some people that I know because we live like 1 mile almost exactly to Niles Beach, and we're actually discussing to get
A card.
a golf cart. They have these golf carts that actually they even have them at Bass Rocks,
Bass
where the
Rocks.
back is just an aluminum.
Like a,
What's a bed?
like
It's a bed.
Yeah,
It's a bed.
like a truck.
And the front is like a golf cart, and
Yeah.
just to buzz the back and forth to Niles.
Oh, that's a sweet
I
idea.
should build
I
in
think
a
that's a
cool-
great
But I don't know if
idea.
you have to. Do you have to have plates for something like
yeah,
that?
you have
but
to.
if
You
you're on the
can't
road,
drive a
yeah.
golf cart on the road.
But,
Thanks.
If you're on the road,
But you
you
can
have
make a
plates.
cart path on the side there, and that would be okay.
you can kind of tuck
Take
it
someone's
in.
lawn
There's a
out.
town near Atlanta where the whole town not only has roads, they have cart paths
Yeah,
everywhere,
yeah.
and people just ride around.
There's a lot of subdivisions in Florida.
Yeah, you
that,
can't just
The
take it on the
villages in
street.
Florida have that.
yeah,
Every-
and
everybody has a car.
everybody has their own
Yeah.
car, and so they go to the
Yeah.
like the lunch place.
They even in their houses they have like a little separate garage, a
Yeah.
golf cart garage.
Yeah,
Love
Chris
that.
Gentile is watching, and
Gentile.
Paula,
It's Gentile.
Oh, Gentile, excuse
Yeah.
me. Sorry, Chris. And Paula Ryan O'Brien is taking a break from the fair, and she's joining us.
What fair?
The Waterfront
The
Festival.
Delaware County Fair in New York.
The big.
That's early, isn't it, to have a fair?
No,
No.
ours are all summer long.
Ask her if they have any yellow tomatoes there.
Yeah, put her on the lookout.
Ship them in.
Yeah.
She's
Put her on the
listening,
lookout.
so maybe we'll hear.
Well, they go
So
back
where
and
can
forth
people
to
donate?
South
On the
Carolina,
website? Is there a place to
family.
donate?
On the website, there's a tab that's Visit Us,
Yep.
and you click on that, and there'll be all the information about reserving the boat, and there's 2 buttons, Wednesday or Saturday, and you click on whichever day you want, and then you can look at a calendar and you can see which seats are available. Unfortunately, as of today, I just checked it this morning, there's only 3 seats left
Oh,
till the end of the year.
Oh.
So
You
you
know-
have to
you
do
know,
it next year.
If they could do it through September.
September's like the best month.
I know September's such
It
a
is, but the
beautiful month.
weather's not great.
Yeah, we do
And
get
it's
some.
very
we
iffy
get some-
to land
Yeah,
Oh.
a 10-foot wide boat on a 12-foot wide ramp
yeah,
with any kind of wind.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
got currents there and everything.
And how many
I'd like
people
to
on
be
the boat?
standing there in
We can
September
only
filming
put 6. Coast Guard requires only 6, so lets
Oh,
us
only
only have
6,
6 people on
that's
the
why.
boat.
So this calendar, Thatcher and Straits Islands calendar 2020. So it's
Yeah,
for
it's
next
coming
year.
up, yeah.
Kim has how many photos of yours are in here?
I don't know. Skip Mondello and myself
Yeah.
did have
Yeah,
photos.
I think they're half and half.
Oh,
Try to
really?
split it half
Well,
and
two phenomenal photographers.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, it's so people can buy this, and the money I imagine goes to
Goes
the.
back to the association. That's
Oh.
how we.
Oh, look at that!
We
one.
fund
Is that
the,
yours or
uh,
his?
No, that's Skip's. That's beautiful, isn't it? Wow.
Outrageous! Oh my goodness, they're all beautiful.
They're beautiful pictures.
So Kim, imagine the pictures you can get when you get your private tour from.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you can get these on the website,
On the website.
thatcherisland.org, and there's no T. There's a T in the beginning, but there's not one in the middle.
And you can buy hats and T-shirts.
Yeah. Well, I love your T-shirt. It's a
Oh, thank you.
beautiful design.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
It is
very
indeed.
nice.
So
Yeah, a little panorama.
we do anything to
Raise
make
funds.
money for the
Yeah.
for the
that's-
island for what
that's
we do.
tremendous.
You should think about koozies then.
No, he's already got the koozie market sewed up. So
Anything she can do to stab me,
yeah.
anything she can do to hurt me. That's her mission in life.
Pretty much.
No.
Paula
were-
reports there are yellow tomatoes at the Delaware County Fair. And she's apparently not been listening very closely because she's got Thatcher Island with 2 T's.
Uh-oh.
That's all right.
But you're forgiven.
That's all right.
Paula Ryan O'Brien.
She's one of the 70% that
Is she-
misspelled.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
that's
she,
right.
is she going to ship the yellow tomatoes?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Or is she coming
She
for a
should probably
visit?
be coming.
You should invite her to come soon.
So speaking of fairs and markets, outdoor markets, this coming farmers market, the food boat is going to visit Cape Ann Market, which is an interactive seafood event featuring Aaron Budak of Toronto at stage from 3 to 6:30 at Stage 4 Park. They're going to have it's a program called Eating with the Ecosystem. So you can go. I'm sure that's going
It's
to
a
be very interesting.
19-foot boat, I guess, and they're doing like a food truck. It's going to be a boat truck.
Boat truck.
Or
Are
food
they
boat,
going to just
I
do
guess,
like
food boat, I
demos,
guess.
or are they selling food?
I'm not sure, but
I'm
Pat,
not
this is
sure
this is
either.
Pat's topic, so I'm sure she has
Well,
all
I
the
saw
details.
it and I thought people might be interested and want to
I
plan
know.
on coming. I don't know what, I think they're demonstrating. I don't know about some.
There was something like that last year where they were using unusual types of fish that
Fish,
people.
Well, they've had this seafood
Don't often
seafood
eat.
showdown for many years.
Yeah,
down there.
at the farmers market.
So I
That
guess
was
there's
interesting.
a version of it at the throwdown, right? Because I haven't heard anything about throwdowns this year. Have you?
I haven't, but I have to be honest with you. I haven't been paying. I haven't really heard much from them. They used to post on Cape Ann Community, and
And
we
they
would
don't
reblog it. And sometimes someone just loses their login and they just
Right.
No,
stop posting.
I was interesting to
maybe
hear
we
last
should
week
email
that they
Nikki and tell her that.
Yeah,
suspended bluefin fishing for a couple of weeks. I didn't know they.
yeah.
did
They have a
that.
quota, so they manage it. So they when you have bluefin are one of the most highly regulated species.
All
Right.
So they get, when you land a bluefin, they're tagged. The information goes right to the government. They're like up to
Really?
the day, I imagine, on what the quota is.
Right.
So they manage it. So they spread it out over the years so that these guys can keep going. So it'll reopen in a couple of weeks, and when they fill that part of the quota, they may have 1 or 2 more shots at it. Usually through October.
So
they're-
that
they're
usually
finished.
happens because I didn't
Yeah.
remember it from before. Oh.
Yeah, if you notice, you're probably not up early in the morning, but when I go to work at 3:45 in the morning on the back shore, there's a million. And with the advent of LED lighting on the boats, the boats used to have regular old light bulbs,
Right.
and the LED lights are so efficient. Like one boat in Gloucester Harbor can light up an entire cove.
Can light up my whole house.
Can light up your
I'm telling
entire
you.
home.
It
Absolutely,
does.
right? So now, when these
My
two...
neighbor can't sleep sometimes
I'm
because
sure.
of these lights. Yeah.
So in the fall, especially, there's tuna guys out there, because that's when the fish are worth the most money, because they've been
They're
feeding.
fattier.
They've
Oh,
been
yeah.
feeding all
Yeah.
in that Gulf of Maine, since they've got here, because they're here now and they're just going in circles eating all the pogies and herring. So they're the fattiest, and they're worth a lot of money. So in October, it's like a lit up city that you could almost walk from boat to boat early in the morning.
I can see them off from my house out, maybe 10 miles out. You can see it's all
Yeah.
well lit up.
Like a floating city out there on the back shore, yeah. So where was I going with that?
Well, let me
what
tell you-
were we talking about?
Can I tell
That
you
they
something
had
funny?
suspended bluefin
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The
So last,
seafood throwdown
Oh,
and
okay. The
at the
market, yeah.
farmer's market.
so last night I couldn't sleep. My spider bite was really bothering me. So I watched Jaws 1 and Jaws 2
Oh,
and
geez.
part of Jaws 3.
You go to sleep.
Right.
Oh,
Back to back to back.
Yes, they were
Wow.
on some channel that I turned on, and
Oh,
it was so fun. I mean, it's still suspenseful,
Yeah.
but it was really funny to see the production values.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? It was
Yeah.
just
The
The
like
shark with
the
a.
shark, and just like,
Back then, it was like the coolest thing ever.
Oh, right.
You know what still kind of holds up though? Star Wars still, the first Star Wars,
Yeah, sure.
still to
I
a
remember
degree,
watching
still
them.
hold, their production value still
College.
holds up
Still
to a
holds up,
degree.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
It's amazing that it still holds up.
Yeah.
How many Star Wars movies were there?
Oh,
Well, they're
6,
still
7?
making them. I think
Yeah,
they're,
they
they're
are.
probably up to
Yeah.
like 8 now. I
Yeah.
imagine.
I believe I think it's 8.
Yeah, and then there's all spin-offs. A lot of spin-offs
right.
too.
Right.
So at the farmers market, is that where you're going to look for the yellow tomatoes? Or are you going to try?
No, I'm gonna go over to
The
the
Magnolia
Magnolia
ones.
Farmers Market when we're done here today.
Oh, cool.
Magnolia Farms.
That's my first. Gonna
I'm
be
looking
my
for
first
I'm
stop.
looking for the update. I'm
Yeah.
looking for the update.
Okay.
And then Marshalls maybe.
And then Marshall's.
Right.
So so here's a thing that I've been not really. It's not a big struggle, but it's a kind of an anxiety thing that I have. So I'm going to get everybody's take on this. So when you're driving through your neighborhood and you see your neighbors, and you know there are certain neighbors that don't wave back to you, do you still wave, or do you just put your head down and act like you like whatever?
That's a good
I have
question.
anxiety because I have some neighbors that always wave, and I have some neighbors that will only wave if I really lock into eye contact with them. So, but I still wave every single time because
It's just because you're just naturally friendly. So
well,
you-
but I also
And
feel
also-
like I don't want to slight anyone.
Slight
Over
anyone.
You know what I mean? I
Right,
want,
right.
so I have this crazy anxiety about
well, I think
waving to people.
I think you should continue waving.
Continue waving.
I
Yeah,
think you should.
don't change
I do.
yourself.
Yeah, don't
Because of
change
what they do.
Whether they wave back or not.
Yeah.
I wave. I did my job.
Yeah,
Nothing to lose by waving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And I do
respect.
think
Yeah,
that
exactly.
that many people keep it kind of a count in their head. Oh, he always waves at me.
Yeah, right.
Or
Yeah.
he never waves at me, or
Yeah, right.
you know, so your anxiety might be. Well,
And how is that different
foundation.
from liking someone's stuff all the time on Facebook and they never like yours?
Well, some people are just busy and they just don't like stuff. That's just they're just
not too
observers.
busy to post their stuff for everyone else to like.
Well, there are some people that
Yeah, well, that happens
yeah.
to me. Like I post all because my posts from Good Morning Gloucester and my own website go automatically to Facebook. So I'm not on Facebook all the
Right.
time.
Right.
So if somebody comments, then I like their comments. but I'm not scrolling through Facebook looking at other people's posts.
I don't go to the Good Morning Gloucester Facebook page, but I also have Joey Shimata, my own Facebook page. So people could perceive that I'm intentionally not liking their stuff on that page, but I don't check it out.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I'm suggesting that you wave every time.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. My friend Vito Mastrangelo, we're on Chris McCarthy's boat. This is last week maybe, and we went to high school with Vito. Great guy, and he's like, you know, on boats especially, everybody basically waves to each other, right?
Yeah.
Everybody
Right,
waves. That's like the
we
thing.
do the same thing.
He's like, he said to Chris, he says, I think I got an invention. We'll get a big suction cup and we'll put a wave on it, like a springy arm, and right on the side of the boat. So you could just keep on paying attention to what you're doing.
Yeah, right.
Here's, we
Out
could
the
even
way.
take it to the next level. We could
That's
do it
a
in the
great
car.
idea.
That's a
So
good idea.
and I'm like, that's next level.
Yeah, but
That's
Chris
a-
would bend the fingers or something and
He
do
would-
it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Same
Chris
for
would
you.
go,
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
going
yeah.
like this.
Wave the
Something
meaning of the wave.
Childish.
Yeah, Chris
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
He'd do something childish.
Well,
But
he
don't
would
you think that's brilliant?
crank on it
That's
where
a
it
really
would
good
come
idea.
off.
Good idea.
Yeah, right.
Down
Yeah,
to
right.
that.
There's something to it. I think that, you know, I don't know if I blew Vito's idea for Shark Tank,
For
because he's going to go on Shark Tank.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's that.
Did you already do the patent application before you blew it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hopefully it's already filed.
I hope it's filed. I do hope it's filed. Jimmy and Pat have an update because
Yeah.
Jimmy and Pat have a New York license plate, and they have
Oh,
it in their head
Yes.
that people are out to get them because of their New York license.
Yeah,
No.
that would be.
So we have regular updates.
Yeah. Well, yeah. A little background. We've been riding around with the New York plates, and I think people look at the New York plate and they have their comments from everything like, "Why don't you just go home?" To
Yankees
to
suck.
people saying, "Well, yeah, I get the Yankees suck and I have to yell out, but I'm a Met fan. I agree."
Okay.
Then to that's our parking spaces, not yours, and you know this kind of
Oh,
stuff.
I see. Yeah.
Well, the update that we have was we're riding through Stage 4 Park, and I like to cut through there to see, not only look at the water,
Yeah.
see everything's going on. And while I was going through right by the cupboard, this gentleman was standing there with his grandson, and they were waiting. So I stopped to let him across. He pushes the grandson across, he goes running across for the ice cream part, and he's walking toward me. And I'm looking, I'm going, okay. So I waited. He comes over the car, and he said, why are you leaving here? I said, well, I'm kind of going on my way out. He said, well, the cupboard is fantastic. It's great food. And it's got great ice cream, and this is a great area. Why would you like to leave here? So I said to him, well, we kind of live here now, and we cut through. Oh, well, I didn't realize that. You had New York plates. I was just trying to help you.
It was doing a kindness. It was
So,
nice. It was a
I
kindness.
went-
Yeah.
So,
New
that's
York
happened.
update, folks. That's fantastic.
That's
I want to
happened.
thank you.
Things like that have happened a couple of times.
that's nice.
To outweigh some of the negative.
See, there's a lot of gray. It's
There's a
not
lot of
all
gray
black
area.
and white.
Yeah.
This week I saw a lot of.
The
New
only
York
thing we
plates
can
around
all
town.
agree on
A
is that
lot.
we hate the fucking Yankees.
People here.
Yes, we can all agree on that.
Well, I saw the plate and I let the air out of your tire.
Thank you. It has happened. It has happened more times.
We lived in New York for 30 years, so I know what you're
Why
on.
don't you change your registration?
It's on the bucket list.
Oh, okay.
It's we're working out little things like we've been saying all along. We are definitely spending more time here, doing a lot of different things, and slowly but surely we're starting to
go.
make our change.
Is it cheaper to register a car here?
I don't know.
We're looking into
I'm
that.
guessing.
You do have to switch all your insurance over.
Yeah.
They will not even look to register unless you switch all your insurance. So that's
Right.
what we're kind of looking at right now. Because you do that bundle, I'm not doing a commercial for a certain brand,
Right.
Yeah.
but when you bundle it,
Yeah, you do say.
so we have bundles in New York, and now if we break the bundle, what does that mean
Right.
to some New York? So
Right.
that's right there what we're trying to look at. Just a
Because you
little
have
bit.
homeowners in New York,
Right.
right?
Right.
So,
Kim, you did a post this morning pimping the Riverfront Festival, which is coming up next Saturday.
It's next Saturday.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited. I don't know how I'm going to get over there, but maybe I'll have my husband drop me off with the baby. But it's from 12 to 6, and it's a fantastic lineup. I
It's
really
a
like
great lineup.
Guster. So and they don't start till 4:30, but you
Yeah.
probably have to get there early to
Like now.
It's a great lineup, top to bottom. If you go to the
Yeah.
website, and Kim provided a link in her post, there's samples of all the bands that are playing, and I went through the whole playlist. Every song was a great song, and it's not songs that you'd already heard. So,
Well,
but they're great to listen to.
the River is my radio station that I listen to all the time, and they play awesome music.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a
Instead of like
range.
nowadays,
Right.
the trend is just
Well,
to beat like the top 20 hits over and over again.
And also, they're one of the few
Independent.
independent radio stations left in the whole entire country.
Right.
So Kim, it's probably about an hour's worth of music. If you give it down the breakdown and the other band sets up. So probably on stage 45 minutes.
I don't know.
I
They
don't
said
know.
Give it a little time.
Yeah, 4:30 to 6. I don't know. I think.
Well,
they're
I
gonna
saw the
be-
list and it's quite
Right.
big, and you said it's 12 to 6.
It's 12 to 6, and
Right.
there's 4 bands.
Four
So
bands.
if each one's an hour and a half. Then
Well, they've probably been an
there's
hour, then a half hour to
Yeah.
set up for
So
each
what's
Yeah.
the
other.
deal
So-
on like parking and shuttles?
There's shuttles, and
From-
you can find all of that out on the website.
On the website.
On the
That's
And,
website.
and the link is available.
Or you can just have your husband drop you off.
There you go.
Which is what I'm
Jimmy and Pat went to the Waterfront Festival
Yeah, they were
yesterday.
incredibly efficient with the parking yesterday,
Yeah.
and the Waterfront Festival was bananas crazy. I could not believe how many cars there were there.
They got the
And
perfect
it was
day for it because it wasn't a
Yes.
beach day.
And
Yeah,
it's
right,
today
yeah.
too, right? It's
Right,
today
day two.
It's
Yeah.
Lots
today.
and lots of vendors. It was.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it very much. Lots and lots of different kinds of things to see. We didn't quite make it for the breakfast. I'm sure that drew in quite a few people.
Pancake
and then the
breakfast.
lobster,
Yeah.
or excuse me, and then the lobster bake was to follow. So there, it was crazy all day. Lots and lots
Traffic
of
was
people.
horrible
I
down
was-
in
Yeah,
Gloucester.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I was
Every-
just
everywhere.
very impressed the way
Unbelievable.
they
Yeah.
had the Rotary guys had their parking, their guys right there, and there was the Rotary pancake thing
Yeah.
that you could park, walk through. Then there was the other crowd coming in to do the fair. Then there was a
They
lobster
were
bake
very efficient.
Oh, was
with
it?
over in the
everything,
backside.
yeah.
So I was just watching all this, saying, "Look at
Just-
Little Stage 4 Park."
It was
How
Yeah.
organized.
And
They did, yeah.
everybody was there, and they all knew.
Mhm.
Nobody was getting bent out of shape on things,
Okay.
and it was
That's
quite
great.
impressive.
That's
And
Very
you were able to
impressive.
park
That's
there.
right.
We found a spot outside of it. Again, we're getting to know the areas too. So we
Right.
found a spot and we walked in, like many other people did too. But it was quite good. Rotarians,
Natalie Sweet
for
has
Rotarians
joined
watching,
us
nice
as
job,
well.
Rotarians.
Hi, Natalie, sweet. Okay, so I posted yesterday. I read the article and the article was from Newsweek magazine that almost half of a new online survey reveals some unpleasant truths about Americans' underwear habits. According to a poll conducted by, so Susan, we talked about this earlier. It was conducted by Tommy John underwear manufacturer that nearly half of Americans admit they've worn the same drawers for 2 or more days in a row. This survey, which polled 2,000 men and women, revealed that 45% of respondents have ignored their mother's warning about always having on a fresh pair. So, to me, my initial reaction is, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
I can't believe that half the Americans wear their underwear more than one day.
Well, you're assuming it's true then when you made that statement.
That was so I said initially,
Ah.
and then afterwards when I thought about it, because radio jockeys, news stations,
right.
this marketing department for Tommy John's
Right.
was actually a brilliant ploy
Brilliant.
because they have us talking
Right.
about it as well.
Right, because they want people to go buy their
Because it's such an outrageous story.
Right.
Which led me to the poll that I posted this morning saying, do you believe the results? And I don't believe. I think that they posted those results to get a reaction, to get people talking about it,
Right.
so that their
And you know what
underwear.
else it does? I went on to look for the original survey results on the Tommy John website and their blog, and just by doing that search, after you put up the link, it's now on my Facebook. Every fourth thing is something by Tommy John. They got me.
Yeah, they got you.
Just because I looked
They
up
totally got
the
you.
Tommy John
So
survey online.
kudos to their marketing department because they hoodwinked the
Right, because who
the
even
United
ever
States
heard
We
of
all
Tommy
fell
John
for it.
underwear?
Well, I hear
never
about
Oh,
it.
I have.
I've
I
heard
never
of it.
heard of it
Yeah.
before.
They do ads
Yeah.
on the radio.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, a lot of podcast male kind of
Yeah, they sponsor
themed
some
podcasts.
Yeah, I
they
agree.
definitely sponsor some
And those
podcasts.
true crime podcasts also, I've heard them on.
You have someone right here.
Okay,
Okay. Well, we'll just, should we continue?
so you can
this
continue on
discussion?
that topic.
Right.
But
Just continue on this topic.
Yeah, right.
Paula says she agrees with Joey that it's BS. No way people
Yeah.
don't change their undies every day.
You always have to look at a survey or a poll to see who conducted it.
Right.
And they're supposed to publish all of the details of their survey methods.
Like who
How
did-
their sample was selected. Was it
Right.
random? Was it just their own customers? How big is the population, to base the sample size on? They disclose nothing about their methods
They
in
didn't?
doing this survey.
Oh, okay.
It's
I was-
all
This is so
Right.
bogus. This is
BS.
very bogus.
Now that Joey's out of the room, I can confess that I was going to do my own poll, and it was going to be, yes, I change my underwear, every day. No, I don't, and I change my underwear every time I leave Joey's office.
Oh, I didn't think of that, Pat.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's brilliant.
yeah.
Because you
yeah.
have to.
So,
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
have
yeah,
to, right,
yeah, yeah.
right, exactly.
Well, maybe
right.
because you've been laughing. So
Okay, are people more grossed out by the fact that some people say, which there's something in polling or surveys called answering in the extreme,
Okay.
that you'll say like outrageous things just because it's fun and you're online,
that's
you're
interesting.
anonymous.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Oh,
So-
so the responder.
The responder is going to do that some of the time. But say that, there are people who don't change their underwear every day. Is that more or less disgusting to you than the idea of people going commando?
Oh, gee. Well, I know some people who go commando. And
I
Okay,
think
and they
it's
don't
less
wash their
disgusting.
jeans every day.
I think it's
Yeah,
less
they do.
disgusting.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, well, not everyone
Kim,
does.
Kim has to believe that they do.
Yeah, not everyone does, Kim.
Occasionally we
She
switch
won't
over
sleep
to
against
this
that.
guy.
Oh, yeah, good. Right.
And it's usually Joey or Chris McCarthy.
And Chris
who
was
starts
here,
this
it'd
up.
probably be going south a lot further. I
Yeah.
know you're listening, Chris. I'm behind you, bud. Question I have for you is, did
Yes.
you ever do any surveys with stuff? Did you go online and ask, or did you do mail surveys, or
No.
anything to ask?
My career was in advertising and marketing. I used to do it for a career.
Oh wow.
Now that this is a hobby, no.
No,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
do it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
because
do you agree with the lack of validity of this survey done by an underwear a company to sell their underwear?
I mean, just the fact that they did it.
Right.
It's biased
And they don't
already.
say how they did
I
it.
know, but it's
Right,
already
and-
biased.
right,
so
a
it's,
nurse didn't.
so
I mean, a doctor.
they can come up with
didn't
anything
do
they
it
want.
or-
Right.
And within the article, it talks about how not only do people not change their underwear often enough, but they don't buy it often enough.
Well, how
Yeah,
are
well,
they
see,
supposed
that's-
Because you could have
what they're
even
doing.
after
So-
you wash your
Right.
underwear, there could be a 1/10 of a gram of feces
They're
still left
saying
in
that
it.
jeez.
some people
It
keep their
said
underwear.
in the article.
Oh,
It said that in the article.
Yeah.
It said this. Some people keep their underwear for more than a year, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
because
Well, and that doesn't also
I don't
allow
need-
for the fact that some people might have 5 pairs of underwear and
Yes,
some people might
true.
have 50 pairs.
Right.
I'm not giving up my Batman underwear.
I don't blame you.
me too.
Yeah.
I'm not
with
giving
you.
that up.
I'm
No
with
way.
you.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
No, it just makes me
I have
feel.
Superman, but that's.
Well, you see, it makes you feel.
How about Good Morning
Exactly.
Gloucester underwear?
There's
I think
an
that's
idea.
the next
Oh,
thing.
Oh my
funny.
God.
Let's-
We were
next
we were
thing.
almost there
With
on,
the seagull on the back.
January
On the
1st.
butt.
When they had the. We were
Oh, the
almost there
Speedos.
with the
Yeah, yeah,
Speedo.
yeah.
I think Joey will really like that
Yes.
idea.
Oh, please don't bring that up. When you
No, I won't.
Okay.
It'll say good
What
morning,
about the
Gloucester
person
on
that
Yes.
the
wears 3
elastic
pairs
band.
of underwear at once?
Really?
We've had-
Who's
yes.
that?
That's such a thing?
Well, there's that element.
Jim
Well-
sent Amy to school like that a
But they
couple
never-
of times when I was out of town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
With
didn't
3
bring
pairs of
that up in
underwear?
the survey.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's not fair because I was in charge and I'm doing stuff, and I'm sorry, I did not. My daughter was what, first grade?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
first grade. Okay, I did not check to see. I mean, I said let's do it, and she all agreed, but I didn't check to see how many she had on until we got there. Then Mom goes, sees it, and says it. Then she tells everyone. But of course, what would happen at work is, because we both worked at school together,
Yeah,
Pat would tell everybody else first who would then come and see me later
And say,
and tell me, I can't believe you did this.
I would have done the same thing, Kat.
And I
There we
would
go.
I found out way later that yes,
way
my
more
daughter
fun
had
that way.
already.
You're really the bad guy.
that sounds so cute. She put on 3 pairs of underwear by herself.
Yes.
Aw.
Maybe-
Caitlin says I really just don't wear any at all.
Okay.
And Paula's giving Kate
The
Well,
Yeah.
Kate,
boss
I'm,
thing.
yeah.
Hey,
So,
All right.
so I want to know what you did in New York in advertising. Were you in Manhattan?
I was
or-
with A&W Brands, the root beer people,
Right.
and
Was that based out of
Well,
Manhattan?
it was-
or-
yeah, it originally came out of Boston. They moved us all to New York. It was owned by a bigger company, United Brands, and then we broke away from it and went through an LBO, and so I was down there for 25 years, and I was VP of Advertising and Marketing. Before that, when I was in Boston, I was Director of Advertising and Marketing for Converse, the athletic shoe people.
Yeah, this is
And in between that, I was with United Brands Corporate, and I was doing the PR for them, Chiquita Banana.
Oh.
So I went from sneakers to
Just
bananas.
bananas to root beer.
So a very, very heavy schedule of
That's interesting. You know, my
consumer
daughter is
products.
my daughter's in advertising, and
Sorry,
she
Kate, I'll correct it.
she has she's been working for a company, and her accounts were Facebook and Instagram, and now she's switching to a new company
Mhm.
with she's moving to LA. This is her last weekend here, and but she loves it. And
Yeah,
she's just
yeah.
really.
I loved it.
yeah,
I had a great time.
Very exciting career.
Yeah, really is fun.
So
Okay.
we left underwear, and now we're.
We left
Well,
the underwear. That's my
No,
favorite topic.
He's got to reveal his poll, but I need to make a
Oh.
correction.
Okay.
Because I misread Kate's comment. And
Okay.
Which Kate?
your Kate,
Oh.
Oh, she's on?
yep.
Nice.
Her comment is, just don't wear any at all.
Hey now,
there
that's
you
my
go.
big. I own probably 21 pairs of the same exact type of underwear.
We
I
already
wear
ordered
Batman or
GFG
Superman?
underwear. while
I
you
wear
were gone.
minimum 2 pairs of underwear a day. And I wake up at 3:30, I shower, put on a fresh pair, get home from work, shower, put on a fresh pair for the night.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I mean.
Every
That's
time
okay.
you leave your office.
Okay.
Normal people too.
Every time I leave my office, boom.
Why would you take a shower and then not put on clean underwear?
Yeah,
Right?
That's
very good
disgusting.
point.
Okay.
I missed what she
Nothing.
said.
So I want to hear. So this is the results of the poll about the poll.
Yeah.
So the question was, in your opinion, did the underwear company fabricate the poll results? And 68% of the people believe that the company fabricated the results to gain exposure. 32% said the results that nearly half Americans wear underwear 2 days or more is legit.
So
Which
you-
surprised me that we have that many naive
Oh.
listeners.
No, I think that's about right.
I mean, there's so
About a
many
third.
things wrong with this survey that you can't pin the blame on any one.
No, but
Oh,
No,
which
really.
survey?
No,
the
but-
poll about the
On
poll
the
or the
Tommy
poll?
John survey.
Yeah.
So
a third of the people believing what they read, you know what I mean, without questioning where it came from or whatever. That seems pretty
so
much
many
the way
people
the
believe
country is
everything they read online.
Right. So many people.
So many.
It's so scary. So.
Yeah, which is why I've gotten away from a lot of the
news.
sarcasm on sarcastic, joking posts on the blog
Right,
Yeah.
right.
because people, would freak out.
Because
take
they
it
think
seriously.
they think it's real.
Yeah.
They think it's real. You can't make jokes anymore.
Right.
Just like you can have, like I consider the podcast mostly entertainment, right?
Right.
And Austin Powers could do the gong and could do that kind of music, but I get crap from you guys for doing the.
Well, that's different from the.
Why is it different? What's
Because
different?
it's
Well, they could do. He could play
ethnically
that kind of.
sensitive.
Kim, did you talk about your other topic?
No, I didn't.
Talk about your other topic.
Okay, so on Wednesday, I'm giving a program on the monarch butterflies at the Sawyer Free Library, and it's in conjunction with Cape Ann Reads and the exhibit that they have there currently it's about children's books, and I think it's mostly 6 years old and younger. So we're gonna have art activities, but the exciting thing is I have tons of eggs, caterpillars, chrysalises, and perhaps even some butterflies emerging for the kids to see. So,
that would be cool.
yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun for everybody. It's just an
None of
hour
which are
long.
poisonous for
Do you know
the
what
children.
time? What
Not-
time is it?
10 to 11. 10 to 11.
Nice.
So, yeah. So I think I do this program all the time for different age groups. So this is a
That's
very young group. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've never done it for like 2 and 3 year olds, but that's Charlotte's age. So
Right, so you're
I have lots of practice.
really experienced.
Yeah.
Fine.
She's amazing. I mean, she knows all about butterfly life cycles now, and she just.
Well, at that age,
Yeah.
they're like little sponges.
She's a
my,
little
my
sponge.
granddaughter's 5,
You
and
s-
I'm amazed what she
Right.
absorbs.
What
when she-
they absorb, you
yeah.
say one thing, and then they
Yeah.
they know
Yeah.
it. They repeat it back. It's really it's pretty extraordinary. So yes, I'm all done with
You
my
might have to
topic.
change
Your
the
topic is done?
Can I
Yeah.
can I bring in one thing
Yes.
while we're promoting things?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm speaking at the Rockport Library in October.
Oh, what day is that on? We'll do a post
I knew
about
you'd say
that.
that.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know what?
Do you have a
Send me the info, and we'll do a post.
is there a flyer for it?
Not yet. There will be.
All right, make sure you send that to Kim.
I will. The subject is murder and mayhem on Thatcher Island.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Oh, of course it's in October. I bet it's toward the end of October.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, how many books
That-
have you written about the area lighthouses and
3.
3?
The first one was about Thatcher.
Okay.
The second one was about the 6 lighthouses and life-saving stations around Cape Ann.
Right.
The third one was Cape Ann Granite, about the
Okay.
quarries.
Hmm.
The last one was the Sandy Bay Harbor of Refuge, the breakwater up in Rockport.
Rockport. Okay.
Is that the one that's submerged?
Yeah, it's a bigger hazard. It was originally meant to be 1.5 miles long, and to protect vessels going up and down the coast, because this would have been the only deep water port that they could get into.
Mm.
So they were going to build this huge breakwater. It was going to hold 5,000 ships, and
Very
people
ambitious.
could duck in, for storms
Right.
in there. Well, now they never finished it. They got 900 feet of it done, and now it's a bigger hazard than
Right.
anything
Just
else
under the
around
surface.
there.
It's just under
Yeah.
the surface?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's
Wow.
above the surface, but
But-
all around it,
Yeah.
the ends
Yeah.
are just under the water.
Wow.
And most sailors, mariners, don't realize it that if they're not checking their charts. And the harbor masters are very busy pulling sailboats off of
Oh,
off
yeah.
Yeah.
those rocks.
Wow.
So-
Yeah,
Wow.
there's some great apps now. We were talking about it last week with Chris. Chris has on his phone, and it's a free app, like a live chart,
Oh, live
live
yeah,
GPS
yeah.
for,
Live, really?
for the boat
Yeah.
for his boat.
Yeah,
because
we have them on the 2 Thatcher boats.
Well,
We've needed the last couple of days with the fog.
yeah,
Yeah, they were taking people out there yesterday. Watching them go by my house, I couldn't see the island. I mean,
yeah.
it's scary when you're on the boat and you don't know where you are.
Ralph was coming from P-Town
Wow.
yesterday. He called me
Oh
at
man,
he
Yeah.
he called me at I want to say he called me at 10 or 10:30. He's like, "What's the fog like back home?" He goes, "I'm trying to get home because this afternoon they were calling for some storms." I said, "It's pretty foggy right now, but it looks like it's trying to burn off." He got back all right.
He did,
Yeah,
yeah.
he got back all right.
Heath talked about that too when we were on the Atlantic. He said
Oh.
about that app.
Oh, really? Does he use it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because so we were in the Essex River. We went there for dinner to River's Bend, and it got dark, and that's a hairy river to navigate.
Well, isn't his light out?
Yeah, without his light on. Yeah, it was very hairy.
A couple of comments have come in when you came in, went out. Hey, it's Connor, which I don't know, might be a hello.
Hello there.
From Kate. And then Kate also says, like, all those Punta Cana rumors and misleading headlines, I think in response to the survey.
Oh, right.
Possibly.
Oh, right.
Oh,
People
yeah.
believe everything they read.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
About-
Yeah.
Well, it must be
afraid-
true if they-
afraid to
It's
go.
online.
It makes them afraid to go to Mexico and these beautiful places.
Well,
Right.
it's
that-
the DR.
Right. Like every time
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, I'm going to Mexico." What?
What,
You're
you
going
crazy?
to Mexico? Are you crazy? And this
Yeah.
town was like population 300. Mode of
Everybody knew everyone.
Mode of transportation, horse. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, are you going to be safe there? You know?
Well, it's just like
Right.
so. The other thing is, every death. So say there's say there's 5,000 Americans or 10,000 Americans in the DR any given time, whatever, right?
Right.
And every death,
Oh, right.
no matter if the person was 76 years old with cancer or whatever,
Right.
was reported as it was, an American died,
Died.
died, as if it was some
Right.
terrible thing, not that it's not. You
No,
understand what
but-
I'm saying? So it
Do
was
you
just.
think it's just an American thing? Because, like, I think about, like, I was learning more about the Vietnam War and how, what was the Francis Ford Coppola movie? Was it?
I think some of it. I think some of this was political,
because, like,
and I hate to say this. I don't know. I'm not going to even go down this road.
Yeah.
Not going down this
Okay.
road.
No,
but,
no politics. Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I think
All right, we'll leave it
yeah,
alone.
we're going to leave that. But anyway, I do think that there are also. Think about this. Say how easy is this? Just just like the Tommy John's thing, right? How easy it is if some big hotel group has a bunch of properties in Jamaica to to drum up
To promote.
bad publicity in a different tourist
Just-
destination.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Caitlin notes that Susan said people believe everything you read online and that it's so true.
It absolutely.
I think it's-
Well,
yeah,
they
right.
believe what they want to believe too.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I think people a lot of times just read those headlines.
Didn't Simon and
Don't
Garfunkel
look
say
at the
that
whole-
decades ago? A man who hears what he wants to hear
Yeah.
and disregards the rest.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
The boxer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well done.
the Tommy John thing makes a for a funny story or interesting
Or
story.
it makes
Interesting.
a lot of underwear
Yeah.
go ka-ching out the door there. That's
Yeah.
what it
And
does.
it's right. It's making
'Cause-
now you have to.
You didn't hear about me before
Yeah, I have to
today.
look at their
Now
ads
you have
on
to look at their damn
Facebook
ads.
instead of cute.
You hadn't
baby
heard of Tommy
pictures.
John before that.
Never.
There you
I've
go.
heard of 'em.
Never.
There you go. Success for them.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm I know a lot about fashion and stuff like that. It's just not something that was on my radar. So
I wish there was more. We need to promote the rides out to Straitsmouth and Thatcher when they get going next year, and maybe they can add some more boats, because I think that a boat that only takes 6 people out there, when you could, I want to do that,
yeah.
and I'm afraid
Well,
we
what you
promote
have-
it, we're not going to be able to get out there.
No, you won't. We
Right.
end up having about almost 600 seats over the course of the season.
Only 600
That's
people.
it. Yeah.
So
If
can
you
people
have
So
go
another
out?
what you have to do is we open up reservations on May 15th.
Yeah.
It'll be on the website. I would strongly suggest, if you want to go,
Book in advance.
pick a date and get online and
Trying to
get the
like
tickets
10
right away.
Hamilton tickets.
So
And-
if you had another boat, would you want?
We
to
have 2
an-
boats. No, the problem is everybody's a volunteer, and so you have to have boat drivers and you
Right,
have
boat
to have
drivers.
a 3-person crew.
I'm putting it in right now.
A 3-person crew for
reserve.
each boat. Wow.
Yeah, well, two crew and
To carry
and a
6
driver.
people?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Wow.
Coast Guard requirement. yeah.
Or street-
Wow.
I'm
We
put-
originally designed these boats to carry 12, 18 people. The first boat we had built on the West Coast, and the Coast Guard approved it, put it on a trailer, they brought it east. The Coast Guard Boston took it over, looked at it and said, no, the license you got in the West Coast was in enclosed waters. It was in Puget Sound, which is kind of enclosed. Where we're going, it's an open ocean,
Open
and it's a
ocean.
whole different rule. So
Ah.
the 12-person boat is now a 6-person boat.
Wow.
Did you say May 15th?
That's when you should make the.
Okay, I'm putting it in my calendar, so it's going to send me an alert.
Okay, there you go.
All right.
I'm gonna take one of those duck boats from Boston and come out and just park it in your yard.
That'd be good.
And we'll
That's
use
fine.
it.
Yeah, you can use
That'd
it
be
whenever
so
you
cool.
need. Just drive right down to Gap Head on the beach there.
Yeah.
You put it in your
Never
Google
thought of it.
calendar.
It's in my, so, yeah, and I'll get, and it'll send me a reminder to
Yeah,
do
right.
it. I'm not going to remember that then.
No, nobody will. But I mean,
And this
you
is to
should
go
do
to
that.
Straitsmouth, right?
So can people go if they were on their own boat? Can they go there?
Yeah, we have moorings out at Thatcher. We don't have moorings on Straitsmouth because it's in the gap to get there, and the harbor masters won't let us put a haul out.
What's the best type of boat to take there? Zodiac or an aluminum skiff?
No, we don't allow anybody to land their boat on the ramp.
Oh,
Only our boats, because we have flat bottoms in the boat and we have rollers in the bottom of the boat.
oh, wow.
So they hit the thing and we pull it up. just rolls up.
Cool.
So how does somebody get on? Like if they
We
drive
have the
their-
moorings
You have to
off of
wade
Thatcher.
in.
We have
Oh.
3 or 4 moorings, guest moorings,
Okay.
and we have a skiff on one of them.
But Paul's
So
going
you-
to give you a private tour, so you don't have to worry about that.
That's right,
Yeah.
right. Well, you want to come out to Straitsmouth, right?
I would go
Where's the
down to
deer? She
either
wants to
one.
go where there's the most wildlife.
Yeah, I want to go to both.
Well,
yeah,
Thatcher's 54 acres,
right.
and
54
Strait-
acres it is?
Well,
and
to tell what
Straitsmouth
it,
is 30 acres.
Thatcher is like 80% is owned by Audubon, right? Is
No,
it on Thatcher.
90% of Straitsmouth is owned by Audubon,
Oh, okay.
and we own like 2 acres. The town does. On Thatcher, about half and half. The north end of the island, including the North Tower, is owned by U.S. Fish and Wildlife,
Oh, okay.
and they keep the whole island as a sanctuary,
And,
wildlife
and
sanctuary.
do they
And we-
maintain any kind of trails there? Or
Yeah, we
anything?
have 3
Yeah.
miles of walking
What-
trails.
Yeah.
Any coyotes out there?
Not on Thatcher. There's a couple of deer out there. Straitsmouth, we're not sure. We haven't seen a seagull on Straitsmouth since I've been going for 10 years. They don't come out there.
They don't
It's
nest out
unbelievable.
there. They
And
nest
Are there any
even
hawks?
Audubon doesn't.
Are there any
understand.
hawks?
Right. Wow.
There are. There,
Huh.
we think there's either fisher cats or
I'm out.
coyotes.
Then you'll go to Thatcher because they have at Thatcher they have seagulls. So you go
Yeah,
to
we got
Thatcher.
plenty of seagulls.
Yeah, I
More
want to
more
go to a
seagulls
place
than
where
we
they
do.
don't have the fisher cats.
Yeah, me
Have
too.
So I,
man-eating.
I don't want anything that's going to eat.
I'm with you, Joe.
Man-eating fisher cats.
Yeah, I don't want that.
You
No,
know,
no.
fisher. Do
They're
you know
not that
fisher
big.
cats? Fisher cats are just part of the weasel family. Like
Yeah, right.
little
Fisher cats
ermine
ripped
and-
my cat's guts out.
Oh no.
Oh.
Well, we're not sure. We don't know because
He's trying. He's being like the mayor on Jaws. The mayor on Jaws. You know how they said,
Yeah.
"Don't worry, you can
Don't
come
worry,
to the
come to the
beach.
beach, right.
Come to the beach, no problem."
Frank McCall is asking if kayaks are still allowed on the Thatcher landing.
Yes, they are.
There you go. Yes,
Yeah.
they are.
Great
As long as
question.
That
you-
is a good question.
As long as you pull it up and take it off the ramp because we need it open for our
the
boats.
boats,
But yeah, we
because
And make sure you have your kayak marked so the Coast Guard, if it's found drifting, the Coast Guard doesn't have to use many man hours trying to find your you
put your
thinking-
name on your
That
kayak.
seems like such a.
You know that nice guy Adam Bolonsky? He said
Yeah.
he goes, "I'll take you back and forth on a kayak, but I'm afraid to bring photo equipment on a kayak." You know what I
no,
mean?
Yeah.
I'm
No.
really
Forget
afraid to
that.
do that.
We had one more topic. I'm going to bring it up quickly because I have certain issues with grammar and stuff like that. I'm not great at it. I'm more of a math guy. Susan's great at it. But she turned us on, and I have a link here, to the OWL at Purdue University Online Writing Lab, and the link. So give us an example of the type of things that you could use this website for.
Do I need a comma in this sentence? You look at the OWL, they've got a whole thing about all the comma rules. When to use a hyphen, when not to use a hyphen.
High schoolers doing research papers that need to do citations.
They have all
The
MLA and ALA
Yeah.
citation rules, just all kinds of stuff.
That's good.
My kids used it all through high school, college.
It's the premier recommendation of
Is it?
teachers, as far as I'm
Yeah.
aware, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't found anything better.
No?
No, and I haven't found anything wrong on there that I believe to be wrong.
I am writing a book now, and my publisher requires using the Chicago
Style manual.
Manual of
Yeah.
Style. It's like the Bible.
Yeah.
It's like 1,000 pages.
I think that John McElhenney references that every once in a while.
The
Chicago
Chicago
When
Manual.
they have changes or additions to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim's jumping the gun a little bit.
Well, that's right. I gave him the sign.
No,
He's
I know,
warming
I saw
up
that.
the orchestra.
I gave-
too.
that's right.
Are you getting the orchestra ready?
Who's your publisher, Paul?
The History Press down in
The
South
ones with the
Carolina.
books. When you go to Barnes and
Yeah,
Nobles and they
yeah.
have the big.
Well, it's the same company. It's Arcadia Publishing.
Arcadia
And they
Publishing,
own
okay.
History Press.
Okay.
The one I'm
You
doing
know the,
now
one,
is
you
more
know the ones that we
prose.
talk about?
Yeah.
The first 4 books I did were Images of America, those sepia colored.
Yeah.
The sepia
all the
ones,
same thing.
right.
But this one's going to be more thicker and more
Okay.
more prose and fewer photos.
And the topic of this one is, you said,
Saving Straitsmouth,
okay.
the
Yeah.
story.
Right. Oh, it sounds beautiful.
It
I
does.
can't wait. I can't
October
wait.
21st, by the way.
Is-
October
The
21st.
murders in May.
Okay. When do you think you'll?
I-
Will you come back when your book is?
Oh yeah,
published?
yeah. By all
Yeah.
means, and
Okay.
I'll send you guys the poster for the.
And don't forget to bring the donuts.
And
And I will bring
fresh
us out.
underwear.
And fresh underwear.
underwear.
No, I'm not wearing any next time.
No.
I don't care if you wear the underwear or not, but I want the donuts.
Donuts. Is there a particular flavor you
Yes,
like?
the maple with the bacon,
Bacon?
on top.
Oh, yeah. They didn't have it this morning. They were.
I think the kids don't. So here's the thing about donuts. I don't think I think older generation people,
Yeah.
like, I think the jelly-filled and cream-filled donuts were sought after by older generation
older
people.
generation?
I think young people get grossed out by jelly-filled donuts.
Yeah, it's too much sugar.
Really?
Yeah, right.
No,
right.
I don't know if it's too much. I just think it's like it's a texture thing.
Is this
Uh,
another
you
like
see
Tommy
girls-
John survey you've done?
No, but I believe that to be the case.
Your girls didn't go. I mean, they went for the donuts this morning,
went for
but
the donuts.
I don't think they went for the jellies.
No, they
They
don't.
No, they
They,
didn't
no.
seem that interested.
No, they
Yeah,
went.
No, I think so.
Well,
I think
you had a-
I have a
box.
feeling
What
like
about the
older
frosted
people,
one?
right? When the idea
I
of a
think you're right.
jelly-filled
I think you're
confection
Yep.
like became a thing. It was like, oh my god,
Wow.
it's a jelly-filled donut. It's amazing. But like kids today, like, oh, that's
No, well,
kind of gross.
they-
It's like for this squidgy.
Maybe
Right,
because they
gross
don't
stuff
know
like
what
that.
the
they've grown up
is
with it, so
inside.
it's not super special.
They don't know what
They've
flavor
grown
Well,
is
up
in
with
it.
it.
let me tell you a story. All of my volunteers on both islands, we bring donuts out from
Brothers
Brew.
Brew. Oh, that's why they keep volunteering.
3 dozen every
Yeah.
Wednesday. At least a dozen has to be jelly.
For
I mean,
the
they're
and they're young.
Because they're
No,
they're
Oh,
old.
they're
my
young.
age.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
and
why-
they says
I never
jelly
noticed
donut. If
this.
you don't have the jelly donuts, work doesn't get done.
It's amazing.
It's just,
That proves your theory.
yeah.
I'm telling you, I think that's a thing.
Interesting.
I think if you had two different polls, if you polled high school students
Yeah, I think you're right.
and people
Yeah.
60 years old
Yeah.
and older, then you would get drastically
So you think
different.
the older people would have the jelly, and then the younger kids would like frosted sprinkles? 'Cause that's-
frosted
Yeah.
sprinkles, or
They like
even
sprinkles,
even
yeah.
like honey dip,
Honey dip,
or,
yeah,
or
right.
chocolate donuts,
Yeah.
or
Because they want to see
Even
what
plain.
they're getting.
even plain. Yeah,
No surprises.
No, so-
yeah. No,
Right.
I think it's a texture thing. I really do. Like I just think it's like, oh, what's it?
Doesn't
Yeah.
squirt out all over the place.
Yeah, I think when jelly donuts were introduced, it was probably like a huge thing.
It
Like
was
in the
big.
'60s, people
Yeah.
that
Joey, jelly donuts were introduced way before the 1960s.
Yeah, that's
A
right.
lot of European cultures had filled
filled.
jelly
Filled
donuts.
pastries.
You know,
Pastries.
in
Yeah.
Israel they have sufganiyot, which are.
no, I'm
no,
talking
it's-
about.
it goes back.
I
before
know,
the
but like
60s,
the
believe me.
idea of local donut shop, like donut shops.
Bombolini, the Italian ones, way before the 60s.
Yeah,
Well, that would be more like a high end kind of thing.
Yeah.
Joey's talking about like
like
you're-
American
you're-
donuts.
You're
yeah.
like American.
Yeah, like you know,
around the corner.
when Dunkin' Donuts
Right.
kind of got famous,
Yeah.
right? Like back
Yeah.
in that had to be '50s.
All
right?
right, I'm
Back
going to
in
have to do
those-
research about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Next
Yeah.
time I'll bring back.
Here, I want
We
can
can
get
get
on
I'll bring back
Ask them at
information.
Brothers Brew, or ask them. We'll ask them at Dunkin' Donuts
Yeah.
next time we go in if they have.
No,
Just
Brothers
anecdotal.
Brew. Never mind Dunkin'
Yeah,
Donuts.
Just
right, yeah.
anecdotal.
Screw Dunkin'
Just say,
Donuts.
do all the old people buy
Can I
the
tell you a
jelly
funny
donuts?
story about
Yeah.
donuts?
Tell me a funny
So
story.
when I was growing up, we lived on the Cape in the summertime, and I had two Irish friends, Chrissy Mullaney and Chrissy Lyons,
Oh, nice.
and because it's kind of like an Irish
South Shore, all
Yeah,
are
right.
Irish.
Yeah.
Irish
Yeah.
Riviera.
All right.
Yep.
So,
Hampton Beach
but
also.
Chrissy Mullaney's both uncles were priests, and so every Sunday we would have mass on their back deck, and which everybody, the whole neighborhood came for
Sure.
mass, but
Nice.
they really came for the donuts.
For the donuts.
that we had every Sunday morning.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah.
it was super fun.
Well, there you go. All right, it is GloucesterCast 353. It's in the books. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Pretty soon we're gonna have the cool weather. It won't be so.
So sticky.
Ooh,